Hello, and welcome to the Virtual Museum of the Industrial Revolution project. I'm Mr. Hicks, and this is my excuse to dink around with video game design. I've tested out this project on a small scale in this miniature museum here last spring, and it worked well enough. Students basically designed all of these display panels, like this one on the suspension bridge, or like there's another one over here on the different types of currents, DC current, the cotton gin, and it worked well enough. And now I think it's about time to go overboard with it. My goal is to use Unreal Engine 4 and put together this virtual museum for the Industrial Revolution. They conduct the research, students conduct the research and produce quality displays, and then I get to practice the programming portion, which is kind of a fun thing that I haven't quite found this interest for, or I haven't found a use for that skill set that I partially developed when I was in school myself. Now, I got the idea from playing, I think, Assassin's Creed 2. I really liked filling in the art gallery. That was probably the side quest I liked the most. And so that's kind of where this idea initially comes from, is the idea of what if I had a virtual museum to go over things like inventions. And I'm sure there's other applications too. But since I teach the U.S. History 2 class on a regular basis, I know for a fact that every year we'll talk about inventions. And so that gives me a chance to build a museum around the Industrial Revolution. Let's see here, other sources of inspiration. I think laying out the museum design has come partially from a class I took in high school on interior design. I also took museum studies when I was in college. So I have an idea of what can be done physically, but what I'm interested in is virtually what more can be done. The biggest obstacle right now is learning to program. The last programming engine I really used was Alice when I was in high school sophomore year, which is a tutorial game engine, and I haven't really done anything with that since. But with the availability of Epic putting the Unreal Engine available for regular use, this has really enabled me to get access. Because the Unreal Engine really allows me to do a lot, and there's tutorials for a lot of this stuff. And the tutorials are usually simple enough that even I, who haven't really dealt with complicated computer stuff in a very long time, can probably figure out. Somebody's tried something. In fact, I know for a fact I'm not the first one to come up with this idea, but, I want to do this. It's not about being original. It's about taking an idea, taking some knowledge, learning how to do something, and just doing it. Anyways, so the basic plan for this project is I would like to have multiple wings to this museum. So like this right now, the proof of concept, the alpha build, I guess is what I'm calling it, is all inventions, but I'd like to include inventors someday. Businesses, tycoons, things like that, so that I can have kind of a industrial revolution museum. So that maybe someday in the future I could take the museum and design activities around students exploring the museum. And since it's in Unreal 4, the game engine that seems to be all the rage nowadays, that gives me a very large access for a variety of platforms and methods. Such as VR, potentially, multiplayer, basically drop everyone in the museum, things like that. So there's a lot of potential in this kind of project. So for now, what I'm going to be looking at is rebuilding the museum floor plan, because obviously this one is pretty nice, but it's very small. And for an actual complete museum, I will need much more space to cover all the inventions and whatnot. So hopefully this is the beginning of a much grander project, and we'll see where it goes.